Welcome to the Irrigation Contract Club podcast, episode 8. Today I'm joined by Mr. Robert Kemp out of Arizona, Maricopa County. He represents Waterwise Sprinkler Repair. Robert, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, good to be on. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we start by, why don't you tell me about how you got into irrigation, how you opened up your business, and what your role in that business is today.
Yeah, not a problem. So, I started off right now. It's funny. I've got two careers. One is I'm a captain on the Phoenix Fire Department, and I do that full time. So I'm one shift on, 24 hours on, and then two shifts off. I've been on for about 18 years. When I first got hired, every fireman has a side gig, right? So I started, I started a family, needed to make some extra money. Started doing the whole irrigation repair service, landscaping, basic maintenance, getting into the game. And year after year goes by, just working on the back of my truck, and learned how to do irrigation. I was doing all residential. Found that was my niche and enjoyed doing that. And then I got away from doing just landscape maintenance and just did irrigation repair for customers. And that was about 16 years ago. And then so I just started doing straight irrigation, and then just hiring just basic, my buddies on the job and just basic day laborers to help me out. And one thing led to another. Now, about 16, 17 years later, it's an actual running, functioning business. I'm licensed, insured, bonded, got payroll. Right now I've got 2.5 full techs that work in the field. I've got my wife that is the office manager, and I'm completely out of the field. And now I just run the business and lead the guys to follow my system. So the biggest thing for me was just getting out of the truck. And that's kind of how this whole thing evolved is, getting to a point where I can't labor for my entire life, and had to create a plan to get out of the truck. And it took a long time to figure out. And now I'm here. Now it's time to build the business, backfill my wife, hire a office manager full time. I mean, my wife does it full time, but hire somebody else so everything she does can be duplicated, and just creating the business out of it as a residential irrigation contractor. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Long story short, that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning for switching to only irrigation rather than landscaping in general?
Yeah. So that's there's a lot of answers to that. But I'll just start picking them off here in no order of, no priority here, but, just making something a business, right? And leaving things up to interpretation was our biggest problem. Comes down to communicating with the customer. You're selling very subjective service. One customer may like one thing, another customer may like another thing. Out here in Arizona, there's not a lot of codes that are followed. With immigration issue down here, there's labor is very cheap. The building construction is very, very fast. A lot of people moving in. It's a full-time year-round service, so things happen very quick. So it's a little lawless out here. You can basically put down pavers, synthetic turf, put in an irrigation system, and you can be unlicensed. There's codes to follow, but no one's really following them. So it can get kind of tough. So it gets very opinionated, pretty cutthroat out here. There's a lot of competition, a lot of different schools of thought. So with all that stuff and trying to operate a business can be kind of tough. So, and I knew in the long run, I couldn't do this forever. So in order to create a process out of things, you have to get away from all the subjectivity of your services, right? So selling facts. And I don't like selling. I just like presenting and solving people's problems and helping them out. And if I could do it with a fact or a product, that was where I needed to be to get myself out of the truck and just to run a legitimate business, right? And something that can be teachable, that you can duplicate our service to the next guy, next location. So my goal was to turn the residential irrigation niche that I was in to that style of operating to get out of the truck, right? So basically what kept me in irrigation was I could sell facts, I could present facts. And the more I could get into someone's system, the more of a fact that I could present to them. And that got us into selling products and not service. Again, selling that guarantee and that peace of mind that people wanted, and went all the way into fixed rate pricing and how we pay our guys and very legitimate type stuff. And with that product, it kept me in irrigation again because I could sell flow rates. I could guarantee that our system would work if we had, the pressure coming in. A lot of pressure regulation with sprinklers. As long as we pressure regulated all of our stuff and the pressure was right, I could guarantee a system. And that was a fact that I could sell. Guarantee flow rates on drip systems. So as opposed to, selling complete landscaping, it was always up into interpretation. And then also too, with complete landscaping, you're driving around with a customer or for a customer trying to pick out plants, pick out colors of pavers and styles. There's just a lot of variables that made the business harder to run in the long run. And then the other thing too, residential irrigation, you can run anything out of the back of your truck. We can do a full install. Everything we do is just out of hand tools. We got a small trencher that we put on the trailer hitch of our vans. But other than that, we don't got to maintain multiple trailers and gas fed machines or anything like that. It's very low overhead. The products are cheap, and just a lot of things kept me in that irrigation only niche.
For sure. What so as far as the beginnings of the business, going from where it was just you part-time to now where you have 2.5 technicians out in the field on their own, what did that take? Did you start with one technician? Do you train these guys up from the ground up, or are you looking for people with experience? Tell me about scaling.
Yeah, no, a little bit of both. Everything's got to make sense. Try to keep things simple, keep things smooth. So we're looking for. I've done both. I've hired techs from other companies, and I've hired guys that didn't know anything. I've hired young men right out of high school that are 18, and they've worked their way up. I've trained them into our way of doing business, basic online training of irrigation. The local irrigation classes here that the Arizona Landscape Contractors Association puts on. And it takes them about 2 years. So a guy that doesn't know anything can move up to be a lead tech if he's got a good attitude, enthusiasm. He can be a lead tech for us within about 2 years. So that's kind of our school of thought there, just from experience. But so the positions we have is just a basic irrigation tech. So a guy that doesn't know anything, he can come in and be an apprentice type thing, and he's just going to be an irrigation tech for us. And those guys start at, between 20 to 25 bucks an hour, depending on, where they're coming from, what kind of skills they have. A guy out of high school that doesn't know anything, he'd probably start at 20 bucks an hour. But we get guys that are in their 30s that don't know anything about irrigation, but they may know a lot about, being an electrician or a union plumber or something like that. And they've got a family, I'll start them out at, at least 25 or around there, and then put a plan together so they can work their way in to be a lead irrigation tech. And that pay range is anywhere between 25 to 30 bucks an hour. So those are our two styles of guys that we're willing to take on as far as a pay range. And then after that, they do receive commission. and that puts it into the point of where they hustle enough, they can make as much money as they want to make, but starting off, those are the two types of guys that we're looking for. So,
How does that commission work? Is that based on repairs or total revenue generated? How does that work?
It's not total revenue the way I look at it, and it's just, again, I've just started this process about 3-4 years ago, and that's when I pretty much got out of the truck. It's on labor sales. So what we do is we sell when we create an estimate for somebody, we come up with a labor package of what that work is required to fix whatever they find. And we have 4 labor packages. We have actually 5. We have 5 labor packages. We have package A, package B, package C, package D. And they go up from there. So the first labor package is $185. The second labor package, package B, that's about $380, $385, I believe. And then package C is more of that half day type deal, and that's $587. And then package D is our high end deal, which is a full day, and that's $1353, where it's at right now. And then we have a contractor service charge, which is $85. So we have an $85 service charge all the way to a full day's worth of work for two techs at $1353. So basically, however the guys go and do a free estimate, a tech will show up and do a free estimate. He diagnoses what is wrong based off of a set of standard operating procedures that he has when he sizes up the property and goes through and does all of his checks and all that stuff. He'll pick out something wrong that he can provide, that he can fix as a guarantee, and he pigeonholes that repair into a labor package. So so the estimate is created as a labor package, and then whatever materials needed. So it's just material and labor. That's it. So we pay commission on the amount of labor sold. All of our materials sold at about 20 to 50% markup from what we buy it for, depending on the material, whether it's a landscape light, an emitter, a valve. They all got that markup, right? But what we only pay commission on is the amount of labor sold. The same labor could go into a really expensive irrigation controller or a not so expensive irrigation controller. So I don't feel like it's right that, but the markup's the same pretty much. So they're not going to be making commission on the amount of material sold, because that is what it is. To me, commission's sold on the amount of labor that they sell. So we take the labor sales. So we take all the labor packages that are sold, and that's basically categorized in our system as labor sales. All those labor packages, we combine them together for a month's time period, and we divide it by the amount of techs in the field. And it gets allocated to each tech as a percentage of whether they're an irrigation tech or a lead irrigation tech. And we have monthly meetings, and we talk about the productivity of each tech and where each tech is, how good they are, how productive they are to the sales, and we come up with prearranged percentages based. So we have goals to work for and stuff like that. In order to figure out what part of the commission is commissionable, we have created a daily quota of what it costs to make our company run where we need it to run. Net percentage, net profit return, right? So if we want a certain net profit return, we know that we have to sell so many labor packages per day out of an entire year to be where we want to be at the end of the year. So in our system, we don't do 365 days a year because we don't work weekends. Our guys just clock in and out Monday through Friday. We don't work holidays. we know there's sick days. So out of a 365-day year, our actual fiscal year or our working year I narrowed it down to 250 days. So we have 250 days out of the year that we plan for. And if we hit a certain quota for every those days, then we know that all of our bills are paid. Everyone's payroll is paid, insurance is paid, benefits are paid. Our guys have health insurance. We have a 401k, insurance on the vans, the average fuel costs, fuel maintenance costs, tools, all that stuff, taxes, everything. And then we got to have a net profit return. So in order to hit everywhere we need to be for that year, our daily quota right now is 1153 per day. And that's for two guys. So basically every month we do our labor sales, add up all the labor packages in and then a month, which is 4 weeks. And that is about 20 business days because we don't work Saturday and Sunday. So Monday through Friday. So 20 business days, 20 times 1153, right? That's our monthly quota of labor sales where we need to be. And then we take our total labor sales that were sold. We take the difference of the quota of that month minus what actual was sold. And that chunk of sales afterwards gets distributed amongst the guys. So the way I look at it as long as we're meeting our goals of a quota, all the bills are paid. Anything after that, I believe that should be commissionable. And that gets allocated to the guys in the company. That gets split up. So that's how we get our guys to have skin in the game. So with the commission and the hourly rate, a lead tech averages, it's a large chunk, but it can average anywhere between $70,000 to about $100,000 a year of where our techs are landing over the past few years of what they're doing.
Wow, that's high. That's super high for this industry.
Yeah, I mean, at $30 an hour, a tech's salary is about $62,000 a year, and the way our quotas are built, if they just do what is expected, it's probably an extra like 10 to 15 grand a year, and that puts them at clearing 70. And then, but the guys are hustling, man. If all of our cylinders are working correctly, the office is hustling, customers are coming in, the guys are paying attention to their schedule and they're doing things right, minimize callbacks, all that stuff, right? That makes a good business run. Those commission checks, they're pushing around 2 to 3 grand every month.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So those labor packages, those are like labor package A is equal to say 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
They're
So
all like equal.
labor packages is where I figured out is how much time it's probably going to take to fix whatever they find. So the booklet, the SOP booklet and the employee handbook that we give our guys for training and things like that it has labor packages and then a chart of what they find can fit in each labor package, right? Like a single valve top off. That's going to be a labor package A, right? So I tell the guys is, hey, if you can find anything, if you're putting a shovel in the ground, they go do a free estimate. And it's a minor, 1/2-inch drip line leak, right? And they got to put a shovel in the ground to fix it. And they're going through, they're knocking on the door, they're educating the customer on their entire system. They're looking at the program. They're making that positive relationship. They're giving them recommendations about what they could do to help maintain the system, so it's running correctly. And then, oh, by the way, you do have a leak, and then I'll go and get this leak fixed. And you go through you do the walkthrough and all the paperwork. We've got all the material on site in the van. Then you figure all the license and insurance and everything in the office availability Monday through Friday. There's a lot that goes in to have a nice functioning business, for the end user for like a 15-minute repair, right? So what I tell the guys is, hey, if you're putting a shovel in the ground just to fix a minor repair, that's $185. It's a minimum $185, and there's a lot that goes into that. If they think that repair is going to take them remotely over an hour, at least an hour, I tell them, hey, just go right to a package B, and that's about $385. If they got multiple leaks around the property, and then they got to do a valve top off, and then they have to, program the clock, 12 stations and go through the homeowner, everything. They're going to be there for over an hour. They're pushing that 2-hour mark. That's immediately goes to that package B, 385, or I think it's 353 or something like that. And it just, that mindset kind of goes as you go, right? The package C, that's a half day. And that's at 583, I believe, 587. If they're going to be there the majority of the day in the morning, just bid it for a half day. I don't want my techs thinking, or if the tech is bidding that out and then the other tech picks that up on a schedule and he says, oh, labor package C, that guy knows that, okay, it's a half day worth of time. Okay. So he doesn't, when he sees it on a schedule, the office isn't going to put in there a package C and then a package A and then, before lunch. So on the schedule, she knows that, oh, package C is 4 hours. So from 8 to noon, it'll just fill up. It's a pack C. And the other reason why we did that fixed rate is so it's ease of scheduling. The office knows how to schedule any kind of repair. There's a given time frame off those related for the A, B, C, and D's. And then the techs can easily identify, realistically how much time is committed for that repair. They don't have to sit there and research, the location of the repair, what exactly the scope of work is. Because if a guy plan on getting off every day at 3:00 and let's say he's forecasting his scope of work and he thinks he's going to be done around 1 or 2, he doesn't want to pick up a package C and have to be late. You know what I mean? He may pick up a package A or a package B if he's getting off around 3 and it's 12:30, 1:00. So it helps guys plan, helps guys kind of have a good rhythm on their day, and then the techs can also, if it's like a pretty deep leak or a valve top out, maybe access issues with a valve box, they may go 1.5 package A 1.5. So it's going to take him every bit of an hour, but he doesn't want to charge the customer that total 300 something and change for a package B, or the customer may be a little bit difficult to communicate with as far as like a tenant or landlord access issues, everything, all those little variables that go into being a residential contractor, they may bump it up a little bit. Inflation, gas prices are going up and down like crazy. The weather is a big issue. If it's dead of summertime and it's extremely hot out, it's going to take a little bit longer to do some things than it would be out here in Arizona if it's in the winter. So all those variables go into consideration when we're bidding. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, that seems that's like a brilliant strategy for optimizing your schedule. Let me ask you this: are the customers aware that of the allocated labor estimate for each labor package?
So,
and does that ever come into question if,
it does.
say,
It comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Again, we tell our guys to tell our customers we sell products, not service. We sell products. We don't sell time. So we're not selling time. It's on us as the professional contractors to basically come up with a good product at the end of the day, right? For the customer to give them to, so they have peace of mind. I hate when I'm at my house, I hate when someone comes to my house and says, oh, it's probably going to be about this, but you never know, and then halfway through the job, they go, hey, sorry, this isn't going to work. We got to do this. And it's another $300, right? I just want to know, hey, how much is it going to cost so I don't have to deal with this again? That's our mindset. So a good example is like a 4-valve manifold deal. If you got one out of the valves, one valve out of the 4 is going bad, and like it's in the middle valve, right? And you can't top it out. Instead of just trying to get in there and rebuild the manifold in between all the ones that are good, I know our techs to this day, and how I've taught them is the least amount of work we're going to do is rebuild the manifold. And sometimes they get in the conversation, hey, well, why can't you just do this one if we're going to be in there instead of just doing it all 4? And they say, we want to get it done right the first time. We don't want to get in here and have something else go wrong and have to go back to you and say, hey, it's going to be this instead of what we previously quoted. So we can give a fixed price, more of a guarantee. Irrigation wise, you're down there digging out the hole and making it clean. It's better to bite off more than to do just enough to get by. So that's our mindset of how we do it. Now, if we've got a customer who's a DIY kind of a person, who our techs can communicate with them very good, they're on the same page, and they feel comfortable entering into a contract that has a bunch of contingencies, our techs have the power to make the decision to do that. If it's a four valve manifold and just one is bad and they're on a good page with the customer, then they just got to document that. Hey, this is how much it is for this one valve. Customer is aware it's going to go up if unable to, connect to the previous three, however they want to word it. And this is going to be the cost if they rebuild it. So it makes it very simple. But our techs know, and what we're teaching them is in order to do something like that, communication's got to be on point. The same guy doing the estimate's got to be the same guy doing the work. So the jobs that are kind of different like that, then the techs will keep to themselves. But all the basic across the board repairs can be bounced around amongst the techs. And that's how basically we all kind of pool our labor sales together. Some jobs, all guys will be all hands on deck to knock it out real quick. A package D that is a 2-man job for two guys may have 2.5 guys on there that will get it done in the morning and go do another package D in the afternoon. Well, the way the math works, the guys are hustling. It's going good. They're making money. So, and when the quota for that day is 1153, well, they just did 2 package Ds. That's $2,600. They got 2 guys hustling, 2.5 guys hustling, and with a quota for 1153, it goes up a little bit because it's all that 1153 is just for 2 guys. So we do the math when you spread it out, how many hours worked and things like that for each tech. It comes out on top for those guys, and they make the most money when they have all hands on deck because they're hustling, moving around. And it's kind of neat because once 2 guys are on a package D, by lunchtime, they pretty much got the job licked, right? And they'll talk amongst each other and be like, hey, man, I'll stay here and get the rest of the day done. And they can forecast down the line, and they see a bunch of package A's or a package B. One guy will split off and go knock out a package B, and then they're just throwing more labor sales onto their ticket for that day. And that just stacks up. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Because it's a function of the team's labor sales, not the individuals.
Right. And having a mobile schedule on their phone where they can see everybody's schedule is what makes this work.
Gotcha. Now you say everything is bid for assuming 2 technicians. Is that because there's always an apprentice with the lead?
So the package A and package Bs are 1 guy. Those are 1 guy jobs. Package C and package Ds are 2 guys.
Okay, gotcha. So you're running one person, 1 vehicle.
1 person, 1 vehicle, and they buzz around. Even my the part-time guy, he has his own. We have 3 vehicles in the fleet, right? And one of them is kept at my property. We run a home office. I've got a large residential lot, so I have a whole side of my lot is the business, the shop, and everything. So at the shop, we have a van that stays here, but the other 2 full-time guys take the van home. And that's the idea of this business, is for guys to take the van home, their company vehicle home, and that way it's just a smoother operation. And again, it's by design. So I want this business to be self-operating as a product, right? Not this ever-flowing business where the owner needs to be heavily involved. This whole thing is being built so it can be sold. That's the whole thing. And quite honestly, if it's turning a good profit and there's really no reason to sell it if I got it all built out correctly. But one day, but that's the whole idea, is for these vans to go home.
For sure. So
Yeah.
do they then meet at the shop in the morning, or do they head right to the first call?
No, they go right to the first call, so it's on them to have all the right material. We do have Zoom meetings once a month. We'll meet at the local restaurant down the street and have a company meeting once a month. We meet at the shop and have meetings as well. But we have monthly meetings where we do meet. Um, the techs will swing by the office and drop off hard checks or cash that they get, but they have business cards, company credit card that pays for all their fuel, pays for all their safety equipment, pays for all their tools in the van, um, pays for all the material. I tell them to buy whatever they need to be successful. I've offered them, but I supply them all the uniforms, obviously company uniforms and things like that. I get them hats and our main distributor that we use is Ewing. We do have a Ewing. We have a couple Ewings in our service area, and they know us pretty well. So, they'll call Ewing. We do supply them with cell phones, so they have a business phone. So they'll call the local Ewing the day before or whatever, or the office will call the Ewing and say, hey, we got a big job coming up. We need 10 rolls of pipe, 30 sprinkler heads and, 30 lights, 500 feet of low voltage lighting. So everyone has the power to put orders in and pick them up, but we don't have a shop that holds a bunch of material. Everything gets purchased as needed and kept in the vans.
Got it. Do they store any at their homes as well, or do they just make a couple stops a week?
No, they just make a couple stops a week, sometimes daily, just because it's so fluid. The Ewings are right in the middle of our service area. Sometimes if they got nothing going on, they'll go to the Ewing and just sit at the counter and just bullshit with the counter guys. We get a lot of referrals from the local Ewing, so it's good to maintain that relationship with our distributor of, what's coming down the pipe as far as new products and technology and things like that.
For sure. I definitely want to get into landscape lighting and what role that plays in your company. But before we do that, what advice do you have for someone who was in your position 4 years ago, where you're still in the truck? How do they get out of the truck to where they're working on the business rather than in the business?
Yeah. Whatever you're doing to close a deal and customer experience from start to finish has got to be duplicated. That's it. And everybody's situation is different, whether it's location, price, time of day, whatever it is, whatever service you're providing, you've got to figure out a way to make a process out of what you're doing to take the subjectivity out of it. Whatever you're doing's got to be teachable. Whatever you're doing's got to be duplicated, and it's got to make sense for everybody involved. And if you want to get out of the truck, you got to somehow create a product that basically buy low, sell high, right? I mean, that's typical thing of doing business is no one wants to get into something where you're not making money. So if you're paying one guy, $20 an hour to do something, you got to be able to sell whatever he does for more than the time it takes for him to produce that product, right? Very simple. So, the more you can create that process in your business, whether it's more streamlined, and then build your business up, whether it's your brand, your uniform, the way your truck looks, your website, who's answering the phone, the ease of scheduling, the process that the customer goes through to receive your product or service needs to be at a really high professional level. You can be really small, but you can present a big product, a big company to your customer. You got to be answering the phone every time that thing rings. But at the same time too, you got to protect yourself. I've seen a lot of podcasts and a lot of guys that are hustling. They're like, I'm answering the phone 24 hours a day and you're doing this. And yeah, but that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to answer the phone Sundays at 5 p.m., every day at 5 p.m. You got to protect yourself as a contractor. You got to legitimize what you're doing. You don't go into a grocery store and, haggle over a gallon of milk, and the more you have a professional process you present, the more respect you gain from your end user, so have business hours, have a good clean uniform, have a good process that the customer goes through, know what you're talking about. And you're not going to win the lottery on every single job. It's just about, making it sustainable. That's a long answer, but there's a lot that goes into getting out of the truck.
For sure. Who should that first hire be?
What's that?
Who should the first hire be?
Well, again, everybody's different. I think my best experience was someone that didn't know anything about irrigation,
Really?
young or old, because you can teach them about irrigation and while you're training them about your own personal process, and it makes sense for them, Yeah, someone with a little bit of landscape knowledge, they got to know how to use, work their way around a shovel and things like that. That's for sure. But I found that guys that don't have a lot of experience in irrigation, you can train them up your way. But I've also got a tech who's really successful, who's got a lot of time being an irrigation tech for 2 other companies, and he comes over to us and he loves it. And I think the reason why he loves it is because he can get the return on the more effort he puts in. He makes as much money as he's putting into the work. And that's the thing too, is to get out of the truck, you got to pay a guy that's going to operate the same way as if it was his company. And you're never truly no one's going to be in your company the way you're into it. But if you can at least give them the opportunity to make more money and receive enough benefits as if it was their own company, you're going to get that return on work and attitude. That's what I've seen. So you got to pay them. You got to give them benefits. I want career guys. I want guys to have health insurance. I want guys to have retirement. I want guys to not have to worry about vehicles. I want guys not have to worry about fuel. I don't want my guys to worry about tools. I don't want my guys to worry about safety equipment. I want, if they're working for me, they're clocked in. And if they're clocked in, we're paying for everything they need to do the job.
Do you have any tips for finding a technician as far as like where to find them? Would that be online or in the grocery store or through a friend? And how do you vet them? How do you know? Like you're hiring for personality. Yeah. What kind of personality are you looking for?
We're looking for guys that, number one, have a good attitude and can buy into what we're doing. If we got somebody that doesn't like what we're doing and we can't fix it, they're not going to be working for us. I know we're not perfect, but it takes a lot of patience to be a contractor, and it takes a lot of patience to work for a company, and the company has a lot of patience to have guys work for them. So I'm constantly communicating with everybody in my business and with new hires of be patient. It takes time. You're not going to make, you got to put the work in. We got to put the work into guys for the guys to be successful for us, and the guys got to put the work in to be successful for themselves. And it takes a certain kind of individual to do that. You got to be humble, and you got to have a good work ethic, and you got to have a positive attitude. And if you don't have those things, you're not going to be working for us, because it's tough. Being an irrigation contractor is one of the toughest jobs I've ever had. You're at the mercy of the customer. The customer is your boss, and what they want goes, and you got to protect yourself as much as you can. And that's what my company does, is we basically build processes to protect our techs so they can make money and provide a good product. And at the end of the day, some of the customers don't like that. And we've gotten bad reviews because customers just don't have that consideration for people coming to their home to do work. And we're not a big a la carte company that just does everything. And so from the get-go, we try to tell our customers, this is what we do. This is our process. If you don't, in a very tactful way, they have a right to go somewhere else and get service, right? In a very tactful way, our techs have they have a right not to submit an estimate to somebody if they find something that they're not comfortable with. So, as far as the guys that we want, we need guys that can work in a system that can buy in and be patient and have consideration for all those variables about being in business with people and growing into, a company that's got a lot of growing pains, and it's my job to make sure that, they're happy working here. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
when someone gets out of the truck, and like when you did 3, 4 years ago, what does your role then become? Because like the cliches, now you can work on the business rather than in it. Well, like, what does
Yeah.
that actually mean on a day-to-day level? Or maybe it's just that your goal is to just make it as autonomous as possible.
Um, yeah, no, that's exactly it. My goal is to make it autonomous as possible. If I'm involved in a customer's experience, then I know at the end of the day, I'm just spinning my wheels, right? So what I do, I would say where my head's at the majority of the time is leading my guys, being a good leader. And to me, that is putting my guys and my office staff in a position to be successful. And that number one is attitude. I want my people to know that they're taken care of. And if it doesn't work, I'm trying to take responsibility for it as much as I can. So I'm constantly setting up things to make it work. I will not jump in and answer questions. I will not jump in and fix scheduling. The best way for them to learn is through failure. And so they can truly see it, because then they truly know what it is to takes to fix some of the small things. So I try not to manage too much, because I can tell people till I'm blue in the face, this is what I want you to do, this is the mindset I want you to have. But really, that what they do in that mindset comes from experience, right? My system has to be in place so they can do what they need to do. And I've been through it. I spent over 10 years hustling. So I know what needs to be done. So I built a system to support that. And my expectation is for my guys to fall into that system and to be successful. I can't force them into it. I can't force somebody to think a certain way. I can't force guys to say certain things. They're going to sell, they're going to work the way that is their lifestyle allows them to, whether they're single or they have a family, kids, whatever they got going on. They got to find their way to be successful. And my system is there for them to fall into it. And so to me, it's just leadership. I got to lead my guys to be comfortable, to be aggressive, to want to get this, want to, look ahead in their schedule and say, what kind of material do I need so I can get my job done faster the next day? And so I'll let a guy go try and pick up lights or go try to pick up valves the same day he does the job. And then he walks into the Ewing and goes, oh, they're on back order. And then he's got to figure out how he's got to reschedule his day because they don't have the parts, when he just told the customer that, I can't be jumping all over that stuff. I got to let that stuff happen. So he knows the feeling of, because that would never happen if he was running out of the back of his truck, right? He's going to learn that stuff. So when they come to work for me, I'm just kind of leading these guys to feeling shitty at times, and then leading them to, I'm not going to let a guy fall on his face. I'm not going to let a guy lose a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
But could he have made more money if he made the right decision? Yeah. Could we make more money? Yeah. But I didn't learn anything. All I'm doing is spinning my wheels if I'm constantly involved. Is it going to happen again? Probably not. If I jump in the middle of stuff like that, is it going to happen again? Probably. I'll be there. Now every month I got to look at the schedule, be like, oh, what kind of material are we using? Oh, I got to call Ewing and make sure, I don't need to be doing that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want the next owner to do that. I don't want to sell Waterwise and be like, oh, by the way, you got to keep track of Ewing and make sure they got so many lights. That's not the deal, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the techs, I pay them well enough. They should be figuring that stuff out. And so, yeah, that's it. So my job is leading the guys and less managing, but leading. The other part of my job is working on the business, and that is finding guys. doing podcasts like this, getting our word out there, getting our company out there to potential buyers, getting the company out there to spread the word. I've talked to techs from all over the country. I wouldn't mind guys looking to come work here for me from Texas, guys looking to come here to work for me from Nevada. I've spoken to guys like that. So looking at market analysis type things, looking at business coaching type things, marketing, things like that, going to symposiums, talking to other reps from manufacturers, all that stuff. That's my other job. So a lot of that stuff's on social media too, different Facebook groups, meeting with different people, doing stuff like this. And that's it. That's my job.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get into landscape lighting. What role does that play in your company? How long have you offered it? How much of your business is made up of that?
Yeah, I would say about a quarter of our business is landscape lighting. Out here in Arizona, landscape lighting is real big. It opens up the outdoor it opens up the square footage of someone's entertainment area, right? They can go outside. Weather's really nice here, basically at night, year round. So landscape lighting is real big. The different manufacturers of landscape lighting, the big dogs have lowered their price for the simple LED fixture. The low end manufacturers making better products. But we found Ewing has partnered with a manufacturer called Pro Advantage and Pro Advantage Light Source. Yeah, it's not Pro, it's just Advantage Light Source. And so they have a very streamlined fixtures. They're all the same color. They come with really good, DS100 connections in the box of every light. So as a purchaser, it makes it very quick. Each light comes with 2 connections, got a 10-foot lead, all the same color. They've got, about 6 or 7 different light fixtures, a couple path lights. They got 3 different path lights. They got 2 different spotlights, big and small, a couple wall wash lights, a step light. So it makes it very easy to sell. Previously, when we were doing landscape lighting, there was multiple manufacturers, multiple colors. So we just made it easy. If we're going to do landscape lighting, this is all we do, right? But our techs also have the power to change it up. Is it worth changing it up? Is it worth driving around town looking for all these different fixtures? It's up to the tech if they want to do it. Probably not, because we got so much business coming in for the irrigation work. We've got the next customer down the line may want the streamlined stuff that's easy for us to just get in the ground and roll out. So with all that being said, the price point is there for us. So with our lights, and we make it real simple. So we're in there for irrigation, right? And we're not going to do a drip. The majority of what we do is drip upgrades. Drip upgrades is we just go through everyone's yard front and back and we just repipe their yard. Well, if they got landscape lighting, it's kind of hard to go in there and do a drip upgrade when they have an existing lighting system that's already in there. If it's a clean system, lighting system, we'll flag every light and make sure it's maintained throughout the project. And when we're done, it's got to keep running, right? Well, if their lighting system is not 100%, how are we going to maintain an unfunctioning lighting system, right? So what we do is we say, hey, we're not going to do the drip upgrade unless we redo all your lights and redo all your wire, period. Because we can't maintain, if you're going to hold us accountable for your lighting system, well, your lighting system isn't working already. So what do you want us to maintain? So, and then we'll say, hey, by the way, if that's the way we stand, we can do your drip upgrade and we'll do all new lighting and we'll price it out at a single price per fixture. And right now we're selling $140 a light fixture. So that $140 covers our labor and materials to drop new wire in the trench and just to replace the lights 1 for 1 with our streamlined Advantage light source system. So if they got 10 lights at $140 a piece, that's $1,400. They get a brand new LED system with a 10-year warranty. And transformers are, inexpensive for about $200-300. Guys can zip a new transformer on the wall with a lifetime warranty, mechanical timer. So we do a drip upgrade and then they get all brand new lighting, LED lighting, for under $2,000 on top of the drip upgrade. And it's a no-brainer for the customer. And then For our labor sales, how that works on our commission is we put half. We give half to the labor sale and we give half to material. So we're buying our lights for about, depending on the light, anywhere between $50 to $70. And that's all the wire and that's the lighting. So the other half of that 140 is labor sales. So 140, make math easy. 70 goes considered that labor package, labor sales at the month, and the other 70 is material. So when we figure out our labor sales for the month, if we have landscape lighting on there, we just total up all the landscape lights and just divide it by half. And half of that goes into that labor sales pool. The other half is material. Transformers, that's material. There's no commission on that. And that half of that landscape lighting covers the fixture and the wire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That seems like a great way just to increase the lifetime value of a customer.
Yeah, and the same thing goes if we get a call for just landscape lighting. The customer's like, "Hey, I got a fixture that's out." The office takes it, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll come out. We do a free estimate. Whatever." He goes, knocks on the door, sizes up the customer like he normally does, and then goes out there, investigates, diagnoses the problem. Well, if it's just a bad bulb, he'll do the bad bulb. He'll just quote it out appropriately. If he's got a bulb on his truck and it's just a pop in, he could just do a customer service charge, $85. If he's got to replace the whole fixture, he could bid it out as a labor package A and then go find the fixture, replace it. Easy. But if the system is bad as a whole, multiple wire breaks, horrible connections, a lot of the wires old, floating on the property, he's going to say, hey, he won't even touch it. He'll just go, hey, the best product I can give you with the best guarantee is replace the whole lighting system. And he'll bid it out just like irrigation. But we're not going to, same thing goes for lighting as we do for irrigation. We're not going to go in there and trench wire if they got a piss poor drip system. So we'll do the same thing. Hey, we'll give you a whole new drip system and new lighting system. And that's how we bid it. We'll just go, boom, just bid it out like that. And so the more we can chew off, just like a manifold just like a valve in a multi-valve manifold, right? The more we can chew off, the better guarantee we can give. And then we can sell it at that fixed price instead of just like some hourly rate and you're just chasing nicks in a lighting wire or you're just chasing leaks.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So in my world in Denver, and I think most people that are in irrigation, it's a really very seasonal business where we only operate like 7 to 9 months a year. So you're 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Do you offer memberships or maintenance plans to customers? How often are you seeing customers every year?
I would say half our calls are returning customers. We do have a handful of snowbirds, but we just started in 2024 a membership, a WaterWise membership, and that is it's a strictly irrigation deal. I've been looking for years to figure out how to make accounts, how to make ongoing reoccurring payments with residential irrigation, and I think I finally found it. Right, it's a big deal, but it has to do with the flow meter. So it wouldn't it be cool if you got a text if you got a leak, right? And oh, by the way, you got this membership so that whole deal. So we finally got it. We got it through Hunter with HydroWise. They came out with a wireless flow meter that hooks into the main line and it wirelessly communicates to the HydroWise account, and that is mobilely accessible. And that's it. That's how we figured it out. So we charge $65 a month, and they're a WaterWise membership, and that's one visit a month. We do free estimates anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I had a call come in. Anyway, so to me, it's just it's a good money maker for us. Now that $65 is not commissionable. It just goes into the company. But on the contractor, what they think is just another opportunity to get out there and make a contract. So it's a free estimate to them. So we schedule it. They go out there. They just do a wet check. They can program the clock with their mobile device, and they can stand in the front yard and kick on a zone. And on their mobile device, they can see the flow rate of a specific zone and make sure it matches the last time they were there. So It's a good way to check that stuff out. And it gives them an opportunity to make a contract. So anything they make out of that, goes into our normal. That's normally commissionable. They'll create a package A if they need. If a couple emitters need adjusted, the tech has an opportunity just to leave it as a free estimate, leave it as the monthly check, or if there's enough work there beyond that monthly check, he'll create a labor package.
Got it. So that 65 includes, so you install the flow meter, and
So
then
we have a setup fee. The setup fee is $1,153. And that setup fee includes a 6-station HydroWise controller, a 3/4 or 1-inch HydroWise flow meter, the wireless connection, installation of those materials, and then consultation to the customer how it works, and then basically a property walk and flow rates and programming and all that stuff. And then it's $65 a month after that.
Got it.
We'll give discounts. If we do a drip upgrade, we'll throw in the HydroWise controller for free if it goes with a drip upgrade.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
that's a solid deal for both parties.
Yeah.
So that's $65 a month. So that includes the monitoring, and then also you coming out and doing a one-time visit, a once-a-month visit.
Yeah. So we only adjust the controller program-wise on that once a month. So we're not constantly daily getting in there. We set smart triggers that change with the weather, right? If it rains, the amount of rain, if it's too windy or too cold, too hot, we set all those smart functions up. But the 24-hour monitoring, that's set up as alerts, global alerts on all of our controllers through HydroWise, and it's a text that gets sent to us as a company, and it's a in-app notification to the mobile device that is connected to that account, which is the customer, and then us as the contractor. And the flow alerts are, high flow, low flow, zero flow, and then electricity getting, a circuit going bad to the solenoid and to the controller back. So the HydroWise flow meter only measures the amount of flow. It doesn't measure the rate of flow. So it will measure the amount of water used currently and compare it to the last time that zone ran. And we'll set up percentages of outside that range, whether or not we want to get alerted or not.
Gotcha.
But you can get into the app and see flow rates in gallons per minute, and that's what our techs like to look at. It's kind of neat because we can do a system, put the flow meter in, and then if we have like 164 2-gallon-per-hour emitters, you measure, you do the math, and you want to see if that flow meter is working or if the system is working correctly, and that's pretty cool to see. Because everything's pressure regulated,
So then sort of the sales point to the customer is like, if there's a small leak, then we're going to find the smallest of leaks, and then we can catch that before it actually turns into something appreciable.
Yep, that's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you install all Hunter products? Do you touch Rainbird or Ratio at this point?
We do a lot of Ratio, actually. Ratio, it's easier for our techs to install. It's that ongoing game, of what's easier. The techs like Ratio, but HydroWise has a flow meter, and HydroWise also has more functions, than the Ratio. But we'll do anything. But what we is found that works best for us is just basically all the Hunter products. Got good customer service, wide variety of products. Products are quality, good warranties. Our distributor, has got a good relationship with them, and we've been just kind of sticking with a lot of Hunter stuff.
How long ago did you implement the flow monitoring package?
We're only going on 26 days. We just started it this year,
Nice.
and we got 4 customers so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how that plays out for you, because I would love to implement something like that in my business.
Yeah.
So yeah, sweet, man. I really appreciate your time. What Facebook groups, where can people find you online?
So we can be found at Waterwise sprinklerrepair.com. And on Facebook, obviously you search that same link on Facebook at Waterwise, I don't know what the Facebook deal is, but Facebook /Waterwise sprinklerrepair.com, right? We also have a Facebook group, Waterwise Sprinkler Repair Forum. That's a Facebook group, and we got a little over 600 members right now, and that's pretty cool. The idea behind that is, guys like you and I, and manufacturers and distributors and industry guys and customers, homeowners, techs can all get on there and just kind of shoot the breeze about anything irrigation. What I'd like to see is the business side of it too. I like talking about that stuff. And then obviously the task level stuff about, actual hydraulics and things like that. So just another group on the internet through Facebook to talk about more stuff. I know there's a handful of things like that, but our goal too is that membership is to make that group private. And if you're a member, you get access into that group, and you could questions for, I'm in there. Our office is in there. Our techs are in there. Other industry pros are in there, and you can ask and questions all day long about programming or anything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome way to empower the customer.
Yeah,
which is a common theme with you, because you also really, your management style is just fully based on empowering the technicians, which is super cool too.
yeah,
Yeah, cool, man. I really appreciate your time. I can't wait
cool.
to check in with you in a few months to see how
Yeah,
the monitoring is going for you.
yeah, for sure.
All right.
Hey,
Till
thanks.
next time.